Kyle, what's the show you recommended for me? Roman?
Yeah,
Rome.
Yes.
Rome. Okay. So in Rome, there's a character. His name is Octavius, and he's really smart. It's kind of his whole thing. He's the smartest guy in every room. Even when he's like a young teenager, he's smarter than the adults. And they're teaching him to sword fight so that he can be a man. And he's not really taking to it, but the guy teaching him polio is really cool, and he's like patient with him. And he's like, no, you'll get it. You just need to practice more. What he's saying is that you do this more, you'll get stronger and in shape and improve at it. And this is what he said. At best, all I could ever be is a middling sword fighter. And it's better not to be a sword fighter than a middling sword fighter. And I was like,
graveyards are full of middling sword fighters.
Did he say that too? I missed that part. And I don't know, somehow that it's better to be not a fighter than a middling one. I'm like, oh, that's some fucking wisdom right there. He's onto something.
It's true.
Yeah, that's Caesar Octavius. That he was a very smart guy. He spent his childhood reading about the stuff the Greeks had written, and just I loved his character. Even later on when they recast him with what's his name, I can't think of that actor's name. I don't know if you watched it all, right? All of it?
Not all of it, but I have made it to the next actor.
You can spoil it.
Okay.
It's ancient Rome.
Yeah, it's Roman history. I was just wondering if he'd seen that actor yet that they recast him. I think it's really good. It's another one of those things like Deadwood that also got canceled because they just came out a little bit before the golden age of TV, or at least before we were ready for what that was. Because those are just really well produced, great stories, and they're historical dramas too, which I like. I like when you take something that happened, make it a little bit fancier. Tell me about a whore who existed back then too. She's there. She's running around getting dick. Add her. Like sauce up the story, make it a little better for me. Gladiator is a great example of that, right? Like those are real Romans and real shit that happened mostly. Commodus was really a Roman emperor. All that happened, but you beef it up and make it amazing. That's what Ridley Scott's doing again. I don't got that dog. Let me shut the dog up.
Ridley Scott is.
Yeah, I don't know my history that well, so I just assume it's all true. But I am enjoying the show. It's a blast. The first season, Kyle told me that the show ends a little early, so they have to rush and sort of put a bow on the storyline. Yeah. What happens at the first season ends how I expected the whole storyline to end. I'm like, where are they even going from here? And now I'm learning. So.
Yeah, it's frustrating to watch. Like I almost don't want to rewatch that show because it has so much potential. Yeah, I saw it many years ago, and I remember it being sick, like awesome. But they just sprint to the finish. Like you're like mad as it's going because you're like, oh no, you're not going to flesh that out. It's just gonna. Oh, the next scene is.
Season was a sprint.
The first season is fast, and then the second season is like, oh, between scenes 9 years passed. Like that's like literally shit like that. It's absurd. You're watching like, God, I wish they could have fleshed that out more with whatever that main actor is. The really dark haired guy. I don't know what his name is, but he's great.
In the first season, Caesar travels back to Rome. Okay, big spoiler. You might be surprised. Caesar goes to Rome. And but like I was like, if this was Game of Thrones, they would take 1 or 2 years to sort of define the landscape, the players, the travel from here to there, the war with the Gauls and the people in his army. They would be building that up. Here, by like episode 3 or so, he's defeated an entire enemy race, and now he's home again.
He's conquered all of the Germanic and Celtic peoples. Like that's the part you'd love to see, right? Just nothing but war and big battle scenes. Yeah. But you could tell they didn't have money for that. They didn't have any money for any of the battle scenes.
Oh, you're right. Sometimes I forget about like the why.
So expensive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so expensive to do a battle scene because you don't want to do a shitty one. You'd rather do something sort of like
they did a shitty one.
A big battle that happened.
I forget which battle scene it was, but like there's basically like foggy photos where there's a guy like, and another guy, and then like whatever, tall dude won, and you're like, you just robbed me of an entire war.
Now imagine a war.
Close your eyes with us.
It's incredible. Huge feats of strength and heroism are happening all around you as the camera pans through the turmoil. Okay, are you going to show us any of this? Here's the blurry screen, sword shield. Yeah, it sucks when they do that. That's what early Game of Thrones was like too, though. If you remember the Whispering Woods, we didn't see shit. That's a huge battle where Jaime Lannister cuts down some of the best swordsmen in the North by himself. We didn't see any of that shit. We saw a little part where they hit him in the head and they catch him at the end. And then the battle where the big naval battle where they're at King's Landing, they cut to Tyrion's face and show him react to the shit that's happening. So they didn't have the money there. That shit's so expensive when you get into that CGI. Yeah.
They blew all their money on the wildfire explosion.
So I was going to say before my dog went crazy, Ridley Scott, who made Gladiator, has now made Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon. It's like 3.5, 4 hours long or something. And it'll be on, I'm sure they'll put it in theaters, but then it'll be on Apple TV sometime thereafter. The trailer looks awesome. Just huge, epic scale, Napoleonic era battles in Egypt, Russia, the entire. And there's this the trailer I saw. He's like, I have conquered the world. I went to the frozen north of Russia, and they cut to a scene of him in Russia, like shooting cannons on people on the eyes. To the plains of the west, to the sands of the far. And it's great because Joaquin Phoenix is doing kind of a French accent, and he's good at that. I'm super hyped for that movie.
That sounds sweet.
I love those I love that he's not making any more alien shit. Ridley Scott's done enough of that. And
what else has he done that I might know? I've seen Aliens.
Gladiator, Black. I think he did Black Hawk Down. And I'm spacing out on some of the other stuff. He did
those
Alien.
Two are good enough. Those are excellent movies. I love those movies.
Alien, and I think he did Prometheus and the other Alien sequel.
Prometheus was kind of
yeah. He's real into the backstory of the aliens, and I feel and I don't.
And
care.
I'm not. Yeah,
that should be like left a mystery, but that's neither here nor there. But I am really pumped for that Joaquin Phoenix movie.
When's
I like him
out?
A lot. I think next month. I think November. Pretty sure.
I haven't seen a movie in theaters in years, and so maybe I'll make that one that I see. I've thought on multiple occasions over the past couple of years, like I want to go see a movie. Like that sounds like fun, and then I Google what movies are on, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna force myself to go to the movies to watch something I'm not interested in.
You know what part of it is? Part of it is it is so nice to watch at home. On a good TV for free. But I keep every now and then on Reddit, they're like, this guy tried to get into the seats he reserved. Here's what happened. And he's just getting assaulted by 3 or 4 people in a movie theater because he wanted to
what
sit
kind of people?
The kind who sit in your reserved fucking seats and then think that they're being singled out when you ask them politely if they would please not sit in the seats that you paid special for and have reserved here on your phone. See the little thing here? It means I sit there. Yeah. Why are you killing me? Colonialist, what?
Colonial. It's like see how on my phone seats 16 and 17 are blue and the rest of the seats are gray. Wait, don't
get off
me.
The phone call. You could look at yours and tell that your seat's down there somewhere.
I mean, the last I feel like not many people go to the movies anymore. The last one I went to was Joker, probably 4 years ago when that came out, and I saw it pretty close to the release date. I feel, and even that was like, yeah, that was the last movie I saw.
I was like a young man when that stupid fucking movie came out.
I think it was 2019. I haven't been out of the game
That's
too
an
long.
Excellent movie. The sequel,
it was a good movie, but even that theater was not full.
Overrated movie.
Oh, I thought it was
what's
really
the Rotten
good.
Tomatoes of Joker with Joaquin Phoenix?
I bet it's gonna go.
The sequel comes out soon.
Why was it terrible?
The sequel.
Well, it was long and droning. It was like there was one scene played over and over again. It was one note is a better description. Just played for. Was that movie 4.5 hours long? I don't know. It felt like 5.5 hours. It was ridiculous. A little lower than I expected.
2 hours and 2 minutes.
Yeah, 88 on 50,000.
That was only 2 hours.
That
movie felt like I honestly thought it was going to be closer to 3.
Yeah,
not 4. Like
you didn't enjoy how they built the tension throughout it of you're seeing him crack. Like he's starting off in a very bad place, and then he like almost the vibration of it increases to the really cool culmination when he's like, "Time, how about another joke, Murray?
Murray,
Murray, what do you get when you cross?" And like he fucking blows De Niro's head off. That was awesome. Like that was such a good, like I like slow burn movies though, and I enjoyed that.
You remember that there's a speech at the end of Julius Caesar where I think it's Mark Antony. He's up there and he keeps saying an awful thing that Brutus and Gaius has done. And look how they rent noble Caesar's body here. Look at the wound there where Cassius's blade stabbed, and where Brutus's like wound fell. And he's like showing,
Mm-hmm.
but these are noble men. Who can deny that these are noble men? He keeps going back to that. That's his fucking chorus for the fucking song of deception he's singing. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things. I don't know Shakespeare, but I know that speech. I love it. I relish it I play it all the time.
Is it in Rome, the TV show?
So they don't do the speech itself, but what you get, and I actually like this, is they have common folk in a bar describing having heard the speech. They're like, fucking Brutus go up there, and he's all blah, 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 economy, numbers, money, this and that. And Mark Antony got up there. Everybody likes Mark, He's at first, he was saying how what they'd done was good. And then I started thinking maybe it wasn't. And it's like, it's his slow-witted like brain. Like he's explaining how he was duped by the slickest guy in Rome, because Shakespeare's writing him, to just completely win the crowd over and turn a crowd that was there to be like, yeah, down with the dictatorship, to one that was like, get those motherfuckers that fucked up Caesar. At the very end, the crowd is incensed. They're roiling. They're ready to get somebody and burn a fucking house and get their wives too. And he's like, wait, noble friends, you have forgotten the will of Caesar that you would bid me read. Give me a moment. Let me read what Caesar has left unto you. To each and every man 100 dinar. And everybody's, Caesar's so generous. And he has left unto every Roman man to walk in his orchards and his parks and his gardens of leisure. For all time they are given to the Roman people. Mighty Caesar! And then it's just, he's got them boiling by the end of it. I love that fucking scene.
Cool.
Charlton Heston's like one of the best actors ever.